All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to this week's virtual write-in. My name is Catherine. I'm the communications manager here at NaNoWriMo. It's just me today, so hey, and welcome to you all. I'm glad you're all here to hang out. Usually, our interns Nick and Kristen are the ones who run these, but they're both out today. So I'm kind of stepping up to the helm. Well, I guess I'm not super alone. I've got Blobby here. This is my write-in buddy. So that'll be fun. Awesome. Hi everyone. I've been kind of looking in the chat, and it looks like a lot of you guys have been staying up writing really late and getting a lot of stuff done. So I hope your Camp NaNoWriMo is going really well. If you just kind of happen across this and don't know what Camp NaNoWriMo is, it's the program that we're doing right now. It's kind of like November's challenge, but you can set your own goal and work on different kinds of projects other than novels. So if you haven't already, go over to campnanowrimo.org and check it out. Sign up, announce a project that you're working on this month, and set your goal. And yeah, join in the writing fun. Cool. Awesome. So it looks like some of these, it's the first virtual write-in you've made in a while. So yeah, we're just starting right now. Haven't done any word sprints yet. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So we're going to be doing some writing exercises, some word prompts, little timed sprints, so you can try to write as much as you can in that amount of time. Just to kind of help you guys get writing, get working on your projects, and it's kind of fun when everybody's doing it at the same time. So today's theme is kind of firsts, because it's the first week of Camp NaNoWriMo. And a lot of people are working on new projects. Some of you might be continuing old projects, or might be editing projects that you've worked on before. But either way, it's kind of a new, exciting time to get some more stuff done. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. Thought we could start with just a 5-minute word sprint, just to kind of get the juices flowing, get ourselves writing, and kind of get into that mindset. So what I have is just a word sprint. So I'm just going to say a word, and if you want, you can use that in what you write over this next little 5-minute sprint. You don't have to use the prompts. You never have to use the prompts if they don't work for you, or if you're not feeling it. You can always just write your own thing. But so the word for this first prompt that I have is novelty. So that's the word for this first sprint. If you want to use it, if you don't, that's okay. But it's going to be 5 minutes. So let me just set my timer here. All right. So 5 minutes, just starting to write, get your juices flowing. If you want, the optional prompt is the word novelty. All right. So let's go. Let's start writing. Got about 45 seconds left. Okay, time is up. Stop writing, hands up, pencils down. Yeah, let me know in the chat how many words you wrote, or if you're doing, if you're doing something else like editing, what you accomplished in that time. Yeah, let me know how it's going. It's good to have you. Good to have you guys here. Yeah, so let's see, how many words did I write? Okay, I wrote 167 words. Let's see. Allison Opulent Clement got 277. All right. Tia Kala, 151. Ooh, somebody wrote up a few more panels, but not a full page yet. It sounds like you're making a graphic novel. That sounds really cool. 305 words from Vishaka Rajani. Ooh, Vienna Ramirez got in 24 lines and did a nice poem. That's really cool. I don't know if you guys know, but April is also National Poetry Writing Month. So if you guys are working on poetry, it's especially appropriate this April. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. Somebody says they're editing and totally stuck. So yeah, I hope you get unstuck sometime in this virtual write-in or sometime today. Great. Oh, Russell Harper had 166 words handwritten, so that's pretty cool. I usually write all my first drafts by hand, so it's a little weird for me to be typing on a computer, actually. Awesome, but yeah, tell me what you guys are working on. I'm really curious. I want to know like what kinds of projects you're working on, if it's poetry or screenplay or anything like that. What genres you're working in, something you're excited about your project that you're working on. Ooh, somebody's writing the script of a sci-fi comic they're going to drop later. Sweet. Marjan Labib, I'm picking up from my Nano novel, which I got 40,000 words from and trying to finish. That's awesome. You're so close. Congratulations. Ooh, fanfic for a video game. That sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, man. Surreal sci-fi horror novel, paranormal romance, mystery quest, backstory for D&D characters. That's awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. I actually, so I just started playing D&D for the first time like a couple months ago. I don't know how I never came across it before. I was always a nerd, but like somehow never got into D&D, and I finally gotten into it, and it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, it's it's been great. I don't know if any of you other guys are playing on campaigns, but it's fun. Oh, cool. Magical realism in 1970s Mississippi. That sounds amazing. I want to read that. Cool. Urban fantasy in German. How to for author personal assistance. Oh my gosh, there's so much good stuff here. I'm really excited that you guys are working on so many different things. So like I said, this the kind of the theme of today's virtual write-in is beginnings, because it's something I've been thinking about a lot. I've been I've been struggling a little bit with beginning writing something or writing in my project, or I've begun a lot of stuff but don't really know how to follow through. I still haven't really decided what I'm going to focus on this month. I have 3 different projects that I could potentially work on. So I'm still figuring that out as well. So let me know, like, are you guys trying something new this April, or if you're continuing a project that you've already worked on, how do you make it feel new and interesting when you're still working on the same thing? Because that's one of the things that I'm doing. I finally finished this project, this novel that I've been working on forever, in November. And like I said, I usually handwrite my first drafts, so I still have to type it up and edit it. And I'm just having such a hard time making myself sit down and do that work, because I'm like, oh, okay, like, I know it needs so much work, but I feel like I've spent so much time on this, and there are all these other new ideas that I want to explore. So that's one thing that I've been trying to work on. That probably should be what I should focus on, because I've already invested so much time in it and I really want to see it through to the end. But there's also another project that I've been co-writing with my partner, and we're trying to finish that up. So yeah, let me hear your advice, because like I have some advice to give, but also you guys are writers, you do this all the time. Like, I would love to hear what works for you in starting a new project, or finding that fire of what you think is really interesting, and how you dive back into something that you've kind of worked on before and maybe left by the wayside. So, oh, I see we got some other handwriters in here. That's awesome. I'm glad I'm not the only one too. Let's see. Maybe working on a collection of short stories. Oh, Alicia J says this is the first big project I've ever done. So yeah, that can be scary, but also a lot of fun. Preternatural Post says shifting gears away from long fiction to short fiction. Annie Sanders says, I've abandoned a couple of projects halfway through. Yeah, that's definitely happened. I like to think that I don't abandon them. I like to think that they're just, maybe lying fallow. Like, I will come back to them at some point in the future, even if that's, 50 years from now, maybe. But who knows? Let's see. Revising Nano novel from November. Oh, that's cool. Brilliant Wonderful says, I'm a journalist and look for trends that have serious implications that the public needs to wake up about. Cool. I feel like that works for journalism, and it also works for sci-fi, because part of the thing about sci-fi is that you're exploring technological or social issues that are arising in your time, and sort of projecting where those paths might lead. So that's really neat. Let's see. Oh, Heather Rivera says, I almost gave up on my project from November's NaNoWriMo because I was bored and knew it wasn't what it needed to be. So I'm doing a rewrite to make it fresh and see it through to the end. That's really great. I think definitely rewriting, it can be intimidating, but it can also be super refreshing. I think sometimes when you're starting to write, especially with a blank page, or if you have this idea and you haven't done anything with it yet, it can be super intimidating, because you're like, okay, whatever I write down now, this is what it's going to be. But it doesn't always have to stick like that. Or like Braun says, nothing is truly abandoned. Sometimes it's just reworked. I like that. And Adeline Carter says, you don't abandon novels halfway through the same way that you don't abandon ice cream cartons halfway through. They just get stuck in your mental freezer. I like that. It's kind of like a little, I'm picturing like a tiny little Captain America just in my head, like, on the ice, and like eventually it'll wake up and become something really, really great. But cool. Let's see. So are there any, I don't know, are there any firsts that you're working on right now, or that you're excited to try out in April, like either with the project that you're doing or within the project that you're doing? Like if you already have something written up, are you changing it up in a cool way, or are you trying, are you writing from a different point of view, or I don't know, anything? I'm really interested in that, because I feel like right now I'm in sort of the really nebulous stage where I could go in so many different directions and I'm having trouble picking one. Let's see. Ooh, Katie Bird's Nest says, working on fleshing out structure questions to intertwine the main character with the villain and the best friend's storyline. So that's a really interesting way to think about doing things, and instead of like just writing and pushing through, but creating a structure for your story and then going back and fleshing it out. I think that's a really great way to do things. Ooh, somebody's writing their first memoir. Meliel says, first time writing from a third person point of view. And then Katie Bird's says, first time writing from a first person point of view. So that's pretty neat. Vienna Ramirez, first time doing poems. Awesome. Taylor Marguerite says, it's my first camp, first adventure, and first novel that I'm going to pass 10K. Cool. Yeah, good luck with that. Awesome. I'm trying to scroll through this chat right now. There's so much good information being thrown out here. It's looking really great. Awesome. I'm really happy to see that so many people are trying out new things and working on firsts. I feel, for me personally, that kind of feels like what Camp NaNoWriMo is all about. Like it feels a little less hectic than November does, and so you have a little more space to breathe, and I don't know, just trying new and different things. So sort of in the spirit of that, let's go ahead and jump into our second writing prompt. So this one is going to be 10 minutes long. And I was trying to think about just in terms of firsts and stories, and I feel like one of the things that doesn't necessarily happen outside of, I don't know, maybe screenplays, or I guess some mystery novels do it, where they have like a character, sort of a character table of contents in the beginning, where you just kind of get a little description of each character. But I was thinking about if your character, one of your characters, walked into a room of a group of strangers that they've never met in their life, for the first time, how would they act? How would they describe themselves in that first moment of presenting themselves to a bunch of people that they don't know? What are the things that they say? What are the things that they do? What's their body language like? And because I feel like maybe that's a way that you can get to know your characters a little bit more. Like, even if you've been sitting with them, because I feel like a lot of times for me, it's like I have a story idea, and it's things that happen to characters and they go through the plot, but it can be difficult to sort of just sit with your characters and get a really good idea of who they are. So this is a second prompt. It's going to be 10 minutes. Let me set my timer here really quickly. And again, if you want to use this prompt, you can. If you don't, if it doesn't work for you, that's fine. You can still join us in the sprint. So the prompt is, one of your characters walks into a room of people they're meeting for the very first time. How do they act? How do they describe or introduce themselves? All right, ready? 10 minutes. Let's go. We're about halfway through. All right, time is up. Stop writing. Fingers, I don't know, in the air. Woohoo! I was just like so in the world of my story that I'm having. It's taken me a second to like come back to reality. Awesome. Okay, so in the chat, let me know how much you wrote, or let me know how you used that prompt, or what happened with your character when they met all these people that they'd never met before. I'm super interested to know. I think I decided to work on this this other project that I sort of got halfway through in November, and continuing it, and where I left it off was right as a new character was about to be introduced, so it worked really well. And I noticed that some of you said it was a really great prompt, but like not for where you were in the story. So yeah, you can always save that for later, or you can write scenes out of order. I know some people don't like to do that, but I do sometimes. It can be nice to sort of know where you're going. All right. Let's see. Juniper Flower had 257 words, much better that time. Megan Schwenk had 200 words and almost broke 1,000 total. Cool. Congratulations. Keep going. Let's see. Tough Stuff, 106 on character building. Ooh, Michelle Lenoir, 258 words, and my character revealed her deepest fear. That's interesting. I wouldn't do that if I walked into a room full of people that I'd never met before. But that's really cool. Tia Kala says, my character didn't meet new people, but he did just enter a room and glared at a table he ran into. That works too. Let's see. Oh, cool. So Braun got 310, and the prompt fits well as my character, Death's Apprentice, will be meeting new people to hang out with. That's really interesting. I want to know more about Death's Apprentice. It's very Terry Pratchett in a way. Cool. Let's see. Oh, somebody asked what Vishaka's secret is, and said fast fingers and music. Nothing can beat that. That's something to aspire to. Let's see. Vienna Ramirez wrote 2 poems, 24 and 20 each, on introductions and being the new student in a class. Nice. Andrew Walker said 107. I realized I actually needed to create characters. I'm interested to know where you were going that story when you hadn't created any characters yet. Oh, somebody said yes. There is a nod to Terry in the series. Good. Let's see. Angel Snowflake said my characters end up meeting a lot of new people as she's moving to college at the beginning of my story, so that works really well. Somebody said I think I torture my characters too much. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like there are 2 camps. There are the people who like really like to put their characters through some rough times, and then there are the people who are like, oh, I like my characters so much I don't want to hurt them. I'm definitely in the I like my characters so much I don't want to hurt them camp. I don't know. What are you guys? Do you like throwing your characters through a lot of bad stuff? I know a lot of writing advice is like, if you get stuck, just make your character have a terrible, terrible day. Yeah, some other character torturers over here. Tough Stuff says, I wish I was faster, but I'm stuck on 2 questions. What is my character's major in college? And what does he want to become after college? That's a good question. Also, depending on where your character is, your character doesn't have to know either. I mean, there are a lot of people that I knew in college that didn't really choose a major, didn't decide what they wanted to do until they were more than halfway through college. So, that's something that could be a character trait, is that your character doesn't know what he wants to do. Oh, Tamara Bryant says both for the characters. So I'm always apologizing in one novel to them, and in the other, they always end up on top. So that's kind of funny. I like that. It's this constant push and pull with your characters and trying to find good situations for them. All right. Oh, tough stuff. He says his character's only a freshman. Yeah, your character has time to figure out what he wants to do in college. That's what the first like year and a half is all about. All right. Noelle Soliloquy says, I love my characters. That's great. Awesome. It's so much fun to like hear about what you guys are reading, and it's really invigorating for me too, because I realized as I was going through and when I ended it last time, it was very abrupt. It was the last line was like, all right, it's the only way. We need to go see this person. And I was trying to figure out who exactly the person was going to be. It's kind of this, I'm writing kind of this supernatural romance novel sort of thing. So it's sort of a modern fantasy, and with this underground fairy court, and the main characters are sort of trying to escape from the fairy queen, and so they have to find somebody to help them. I was trying to figure out who that would be, and I had all these ideas and these questions, but I think when I went back through it and was just kind of typing to see what would happen, figured out that it's probably her former consort that escaped from her before, and so they need his help. I don't know. That's where I am. That's where my brain was. Cool. So yeah, it seems like you guys are doing a lot of great things and trying a lot of new and interesting things. And I think sort of also still thinking on that theme of beginnings. Again, it's difficult when you write something down and you spent a lot of time on it. How do you, even if you have to change it, sometimes it's difficult to do because you're like, oh no, that was my baby. I spent so much time doing that. So I'm curious to know what your strategy is, what you guys' strategy is when you have to change things, and especially people who are editing novels that they finished in November or are continuing on things and coming back to it with a little bit of a different perspective, and maybe reading back over and thinking like, oh, this doesn't quite work, but it sets up this other thing. So yeah, I'm curious to know. Let me know how do you deal with having to change things that you've already started? Yeah, because I'm still trying to figure that one out for myself too. I think that's why I've been having such a tough time typing up the draft that I finished in November, because I know once I do, I'm going to have to go back and change so much, and I'm really scared to start doing that. Feels like opening a big old can of worms. But let's see. Oh, I have a lot of people are saying they've cried when they've written death scenes, which I think is great. It's if you make yourself cry or laugh or whatever with your writing, I think that's a wonderful way to sort of gauge like how are other people going to interact with your writing, and are they going to get emotionally invested? I think it's always really great to pursue that. Let's see. Oh, Sarah B says when she needs to change something, make a copy of the original, then revise the copy. So if it turns out terribly, you can go back to square one. I love that advice because, yeah, I think part of the fear around changing anything is always that you can never get it. If it gets worse, then you can never get it as good as it was before. So I think that's really great advice, is to have two copies of your work in progress and make changes to one of them so you can have the other one. And it's such a good idea to have multiple copies of your work whatever stage you're at, because I know we all know somebody who has that horror story of like, there are 50-page novels suddenly deleted from your computer. So if you haven't already, remember to save a copy of your work somehow. Let's see. Katie Bird's Nest says, I have a cut file, so I cut hardcore, moving the chunks into the file and organizing in scene order. I can always grab them again or use stuff in other stories. I think that's really great, just having different sections where you can kind of cut and paste and move them around. You know, if you're old-fashioned in handwriting, like having that physically where you can cut and paste and move them around, or you can do it with the files on the computer. Yeah, that's also really, really great advice. Let's see. Gyroid says, to change things I've already started, I just have 20 different offshoots of the same story. Then I see which resonates with me the best and go with that. That's a lot. That's a lot of work to have 20 versions of the same story. I mean, I am very impressed. I don't know that I could do that, but I think that's really great. Oh man. Juniper Flower says, I have to change so much in my last Nano project that I haven't touched it since January. I'm going to take a long time to think about what it really needs to be. I think that's important too, is especially for a much longer work in progress, is taking a little bit of space from it and letting it breathe. I think definitely just coming back to the story that I've been working on today, that's been helping me a lot. You know, you kind of can look at it with fresh eyes and see what works and what doesn't. Janet Rader says, never misplace your notebook with all your ideas and notes in it. Did that once, never again. Also very good advice. I definitely have several notebooks that I carry around sometimes, but I try to stick to one at a time. And my mom is super supportive, and she always gets me, usually for Christmas, always gets me like a really fancy notebook. So I don't know, it's so pretty that it's so pretty and so nice. I'm like, okay, I need to keep this in a place where I know it's going to be safe and I'm not going to lose it. I think that helps me, but I do have some smaller ones that are easier to carry around. Awesome. Oh, Brilliant Wonderful says, I write a lot about what I know, but as seen through a new perspective. I think that's really cool because, yeah, they always say write what you know, right? Which I think definitely has a lot of advantage. You know, if you're really knowledgeable about a certain subject, or even just like if you live in a certain place and you know details about that place that people that live there don't know. I think that's really great, but finding ways to sort of twist that or mix it up can be super helpful and really invigorating as well, to get some new creative energy to expand on those things that you're already really knowledgeable about. Also, I missed it in the chat, but somebody said their first time. Oh, Jenny H says they're a newbie writer working on first novel and finally broke the 10,000 word mark. So congratulations for that. It's super early in the month. They're 4 days in. I am super far behind on my goals. That's another question. Like, what kind of goals are you guys setting for this month? Because you know you can set your own goals in NaNoWriMo. So I'm curious if you're shooting really high, like if you're aiming like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go, you know, some people are like 100,000 words, I'm gonna do it, and that's not me. I'm really impressed by the people who can do that, but you know, or some people set a lower goal so they feel a little less pressure. So yeah, what kind of goals are you setting? Oh. Abigail Williams is trying to get 50,000. Penumbra Forrester broke 5K yesterday. Congrats. Derek H. goals 25,000. Brandy Marie is goals 30 hours and has 6 down so far. Awesome. Congrats. Ahead of schedule. Wow. Silly Little Ravenclaw goal for the month is 70,000 words. That's so much. Awesome. Annie Sanders says, I just want to finish a project. I know what you mean. I finally did that kind of for the first time in November. And it was such a great feeling. It was like a great weight lifted off my chest. So good luck with that. Nicole Wolf says, my goal is to finish a revision and beta reader round by the end of April. You have 100 pages left. Awesome. That's really great. Cool. Really Wonderful says, I set my official goal low, but expect to write a lot more. So yeah, you can always do that. You can set a low goal at the beginning of the month, and then if you're going through and you reach that goal or you're doing really well, the cool thing with Camp NaNoWriMo is that you can change that goal later in the month. It's also, you can set a high goal, and if you're going through it and you're like, I didn't have as much time as I thought I would, you can make it lower so you can feel like you complete something this month, like you meet that goal. Awesome. Cool. Well, in the interest of meeting goals, let's do one last word sprint for this virtual write-in today. Yeah, again, thank you guys for coming and joining. It's been really great to have you here and to be doing this, and really good for me too to be jumping in on this. So yeah, we talked a little bit about changing things that you've already put down. Having the first thing that you've written not necessarily be the thing that you need to stick with. So our final prompt today is going to be taking that, if you use the first prompt of a character walking into a room, taking that same prompt and or that same scene rather, and telling it from the perspective of somebody else who's in the room. So you have your character walking in and meeting a bunch of strangers. So from the perspective of one of those strangers, what does your character look like? What do they act like? What's the difference between how your character thinks about themselves and how other people think about your character? And so it can be a neat way to sort of rewrite that scene and try something a little bit different, and see how that goes. Just see what the difference is with that. All right, so last prompt here. We're going to do it, again, 10 minutes. And again, if you don't want to use the prompt, that's fine, but you can still sprint with this. So let's go 10 minutes. Writing starts right now. Got about a minute and a half left. All right, everyone, time's up. Stop writing. Awesome. Yay. Let me know how many words you got or how that sprint went for you. We're kind of coming right up on time here, so I'm not gonna be on here too much longer. This flew by a lot faster than I thought it would. Usually there's more than one person here doing these virtual write-ins, so you kind of have somebody to bounce off of. But this is actually really, really great. I'm super glad that I had a chance to sort of chat with all y'all. Mercurial Water 22 says they got 542 words and they learned a lot about my other character, which is really awesome. I love that. Sometimes Raven is satisfying 123 words. Janet Rader got 850 total for all 3 sprints. Yeah, if you want to put how many words total you got in this virtual write-in, that would be awesome as well. Michelle Lenoir said 302 words. My character's mom, who doesn't speak English, had a whole new take on what her daughter revealed. I will use this. Thanks. That's great. I love it when prompts work out that way, and you feel like you can really use them in your story. Bronwyn said 314 words. I had a friend countering the other character's opinions of himself. It sounds like that can be a good thing. Let's see. Soliloquy says manuscript is now at 6,703 words. Congratulations. Yeah, and totally fine if you didn't use the prompt. It's just sometimes it's good. It's good to write with other people. There's a little bit I don't know, more accountability to actually sit down and put words on the page is what I find. So Logan Edwards got the total today of 911 words. Congrats. Awesome. Kian Bootlegs had 1,034 words total. So great. I'm just like so impressed by all of you. Yeah, this was awesome. Thank you again so much for joining. Probably gonna hop off here in a couple minutes, but yeah, so again, a reminder, if you haven't announced your project yet, go over to campNaNoWriMo.org and do that. Also, if you enjoy chatting with other people, with other writers, make sure you go into your cabin settings and join a cabin. Sometimes, we sort people into cabins, just kind of randomly. You can choose to be sorted by age or the genre you're writing or your location if you want to meet other writers, or you can create a private cabin and invite your friends to come write with you. So sometimes it can be a toss-up. Sometimes cabins aren't super active, but sometimes they can be really active, and that can be really nice. Just like having a group of up to 20 people doing word sprints together, activities. It can be super helpful. We'll be back here doing another virtual write-in next week, same time, same place. You can find the link on our YouTube channel. We have all of our live stream events. But yeah, it'll be same time as this one was, which is 1 o'clock p.m. where I am, but it might be different for you depending on what time zone you're in. Also, if you want more sort of write-in stuff, we're doing kind of, and you're on Instagram, we're kind of doing these really informal, not necessarily write-ins, but just kind of chats like this, and we'll be doing some writing prompts throughout April. So Tim Kim, if you know him, he's our director of programs. He'll be doing that every Monday. Mariah, who's our Young Writers Program Director, will be doing that every Wednesday, and I will be doing them every Friday. So that's over on Instagram. Our username is NaNoWriMo. You can search for us and follow us there. So we'll be doing sort of the Instagram lives over there 3 times a week as well. Yeah, and if you're not on Instagram and you still want to chat more, we have camp counselors. So every camp session, we work with published authors, some really, really awesome, cool people who kind of take over, who kind of give out pieces of advice every weekday for their week. So we have 4 awesome counselors this month. This week's is Taran Matharu. He wrote the Summoner series on Wattpad. If any of you guys are on Wattpad, it got really big there. But Sarah Rowley, Amy Spalding, and Helen Huang are other camp counselors. But all of them, all 4 of them will be live on Twitter tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, again, my time. So a little bit earlier, you can check on the camp page for where it is in your time zone. But yeah, so tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we'll be doing a live tweet chat with all of our camp counselors. So yeah, be sure to hop on Twitter and do that, because that's your chance to ask these published authors your questions about writing or publishing or what they're working on. So that's a really cool opportunity. Yeah, so I think that's everything kind of going on this week. If you have any questions or any suggestions for writing prompts that you want to see or videos that you'd want to see on YouTube, go ahead and leave those in the comments on this video, not in the chat. The chat will disappear, but you can leave them on the comments on the video, and we'll check those. So if there are any really good writing prompts that you guys want to use, we'll try to incorporate those into later virtual write-ins. Yeah. Oh, sorry. The hashtag for tomorrow's tweet chat is Camp NaNoAdvice. So that's the hashtag to follow to participate in the tweet chat tomorrow. Camp NaNoAdvice. Yeah. So we hope to see you guys there. Keep writing. Keep doing awesome. Thank you all so much for joining, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye, everyone.